Hi, my name is Joe Myers, and welcome back to my garage. I'm glad that you're able to join us today. And with me are two fellow technicians, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves. They're from the New England states, and we'll start with Kim. Kim, would you like to introduce yourself and tell how you got involved in the automotive field?
Good morning. My name is Kim Stevenson. I am currently a T10 instructor and program coordinator at a community college in New Hampshire. And got involved in the industry because I decided that I would buy an old '89 Audi hunk of you know what. And unfortunately, I had to learn how to fix it in order to keep it on the road. So it's been exciting ever since that first car.
Very good, very good. And Maddie, it's good to have you on the video today as well.
Hi, my name is Maddie or Madison Andrews. I am a Toyota dealership technician in New Hampshire. I got involved in the industry in high school. I took their introduction to auto program through the Salem High School, and then I kind of went through there. They got me a job at my first dealership, and then probably about a year later, I transferred to the one I'm currently at now. I'm an ASE Master Tech, and I am on track to become a Toyota Master Tech. I have all my qualifications except for my time experience on the job.
Awesome. Well, it's very good to have both of you on here. And in this video series that I've been doing, I've called it What It Takes to Fix a Car. And we can have all of the right parts, we can have all of the right tools, but if we don't have a highly trained technician, such as both of you, working on the vehicles, the tools and the parts are worthless. And a few weeks ago, I actually did a introductory video that talked about a need for an overhaul in the industry. And I know that both of you are involved in a technician roundtable in the New England states. Would you care to share a little bit, either one of you, or maybe volley it back and forth, what that female technician roundtable is, how it got started, and how it's supporting the industry?
Let me take that first.
Yeah, he started it.
So the Female Technician Roundtable was started by the Toyota Boston region. Our TSTM was the one that started. It was his idea to create the roundtable, but being that he was a male and he wanted a female technician roundtable, he looked to me and some other folks in the industry to really get that motivated. So it was a great experience to be able to bring that together. We offer all the certified female Toyota technicians in our region the opportunity to come to this roundtable. And it's really just been a great way of getting together, seeing the common issues that we're having, and then working together to try and solve those issues. And those issues, as we found out when we got started with RFP, that I know you'll talk a little bit about later, those issues are not just related to a female in the industry, it's all of us, all genders, all races, all everybody. These are all things that this roundtable is working towards making it better for all of us. And it's very, very sweet to be a part of,
Yeah.
and it's gaining a lot of traction both in the industry, and we've got folks from different regions coming to join our meeting this May.
And Maddie, for you, what does the roundtable do for you? Does it give you an opportunity to share concerns or work through concerns that you're facing?
It's definitely a big experience. You get to see a bunch of other girls from a bunch of different dealer environments, and some have worked at multiple dealers like I have, and you get to see the differences you guys have and the opportunities that some other girls have based on what you have, or vice versa. Um, but I do think it's a very good thing for us to have. It's our safe space pretty much where we can talk about what's going on, and then we have Toyota corporate there that can help us, and we have each other. We all have a big group chat and a big Facebook group where we can go and we can talk about stuff. We can ask about things. We've made a lot of progress in what we've been doing. The dealers are supportive of it, which is great. But it's really a great thing for us to have, especially as technicians.
Well, that is awesome. And Kim, you mentioned RFP. I may need to explain to everyone what RFP stands for. It's called RFP because it stands for Respect for People. And we've built workplace principles around it. And Kim is actually the representative for the Northeast for RFP Workplace Principles. And really where that all started was some feedback that I got while I was still a manager for Toyota from Kim, having facilitated one of those meetings. And there was a list, I think, of about 20 or 21 items long. And when I went through that list, what I realized very quickly was those were not issues that females were just facing, but females were feeling the heavier impact from the blow of some of those issues. So this really deals with any gender, any race, any ethnicity, any religious background or whatever, making a workplace that is inviting for all. So Maddie, I want to go back to you just for a minute. You talked about getting into the industry while you were in high school and joined an automotive class. So elaborate a little bit more on that. What attracted you to the automotive class? Did you have a friend, a family member, someone in the automotive industry, or was the automotive industry completely new to you?
It was a completely new concept to me. I believe I was in my sophomore year of high school, and I had an open spot in my schedule, and we had an intro to auto class that fit perfectly in there. And there was a couple other things I was looking at, but I've always been interested in cars, the fact of like just like how they look. Like I never knew what was under the hood, but like if an older car drove by me, I was like, well, that's sick. Um, so I had that opening and I started in there completely new or whatever, but I see myself as a very what's the right word? I'm not sure of the right word, but I love to go after like everything that I do. I'm very passionate about what I do. And I knew I was going to take this class and I was definitely going to try because I don't like relying on other people. And if I know I can do the job, then I am capable of doing it and I want to do it. So it was more of that of like I wanted to be able to do my own oil change and like basic maintenance on my car and stuff like that. But once we started taking apart our small engines in the introduction class, that's when I was like, this is really, really awesome. Like I want to do this on a bigger scale. And I think that year was the COVID year, like when we first went into lockdown and everything. And so I filled out my application to go into the automotive first year program. I did get accepted into there. And my teachers, Liebke and McCarthy, they got me a job at a Southern New Hampshire dealer. And then my second year, my teacher Liebke knew my mentor at my current dealership, and we made the switch for me to go over there due to some of the experiences I was having in my first dealership, which we can dive into. Um, but it was definitely of a more of an independence thing. But there was no one in my family that had any remote interest in cars or anything.
Sure. Wow. That is a very interesting story. And if you're watching this video and thinking about going into the automotive industry and you say, well, I don't have a background, I don't have family or anyone, Maddie is a great example of how that you can dive into this industry and learn and become very successful. But you bring up something that I want to get into here a little bit. So let's break this down into about two or three different segments. So it sounds like getting into the class in the school, that was very inviting. Would you say that, on a scale of 1 to 10, how inviting was it for you as a female to come into the class where there were other females that were in the program? So from an instructor or fellow student standpoint, getting into the industry, how inviting was it?
10 being the best going into a high school program, I would say about an 8. And I only say an 8 just because it is still mostly guys, and you just still have that thought in the back of your head, and you don't know yet how inviting it actually is, and you're still nervous and stuff like that. So it was just probably me being nervous. There was one other female in my class, but she wasn't too interested in everything. So it's like she wouldn't show up to class or anything. So I pretty much just counted just myself in there. Um, but the guys that were in my class, I knew some of them. Um, so they were pretty inviting, even though they didn't really know anything, but they didn't treat me like I was different in any sort of way. A lot of them did go to me for help. So I would definitely give it an 8, but it's just intimidating.
Sure.
A lot of people hype it up to be an extremely intimidating field to go in because it is all men going in. It's definitely gotten a lot better, but definitely an intimidation factor.
Well, that's a concern of mine, that, you bring up something there. It's all men going in. What I find is interesting is it's okay for females to build our cars because roughly 50% of the workforce in manufacturing is female. But for some reason, it's not okay for females to repair our cars. And that's a problem. And if we're going to address the technician shortage crisis that we hear about on the news, we're going to have to include the other 50% of the population. And so I think that you bring up something very important there. So let's take this a step farther. So going into your first shop or dealership, how receptive was the management and maybe even the ownership to having a female join the technician workforce?
So when I originally joined, it was a smaller dealership. I knew the owner of the dealership personally, and his son was the general manager. And I had a very close relationship with the general manager. I went in, I believe I was 16, either 15 or 16. I think I had my license, so I'm going to say 16. But I originally went in, I told them I was interested about it. They didn't immediately throw me in the shop. I was kind of working in parts for a little bit, which was cool. I got to learn how the parts side worked and everything just to see if I liked it. He's not in the industry anymore, but my general manager's name was Ryan. I pretty much reported to him when I got out of school and I went there. But I go into his office. They had a dog. I would walk his dog. I'd come back. They'd put me in parts. I worked in Honda for a little bit, but I was still considered a Toyota employee. But I worked in Honda parts for probably like 3 months. And they showed me that, and he was like, "You sure you still want to be a tech?" And I was like, "Yes, like I want to do that." And then he put me in the Honda shop for maybe a couple weeks, but I still really wanted to do Toyota. My dad had a Tacoma, and I just really liked his Tacoma, so I wanted to go with Toyota, and I just love the reliability of them. So that's the main reason I wanted to go over there. But I was out in the Honda shop for about a week, and Toyota was directly across the parking lot. So he ended up moving me over there. I started with a mentor. His name was Brian. He was a master, and he was great. He was on the older side, but he was absolutely great. Everyone else in the shop was scared of him. He was super nice to me. He was showing me everything. The first day I was in there, he was doing a knock sensor harness on a Tundra. I didn't know what it was then, but I thought it was cool. Now I know what it is, and I'm like, whatever. But he showed me, I was with him for a couple months, and then it started to go downhill for me once I got my maintenance certification. Once I got my maintenance certification, they put me in the uh yeah, Express. That's where we just do like the oil changes and the tire rotations, the 5,000 mile services to 20,000 or 25,000 mile services. Um, and that wasn't even the bad part. I liked doing that. I loved working like pretty much by myself, like getting in the cars in and out. I love doing that. With the team I had, I did have an issue with my manager that did not want me in there. And that was the main reason I did leave that dealership is because he had such a large problem with me. And I do believe it was because I was a female and how young I was, um, just due to some of the comments he said to me. Um, and then once that dealership changed ownership, um, they sold it, was when I was kind of like ready to take the next step and try to find another dealership that I know would help benefit me. And the one I'm at now, I had a great mentor. I haven't had any problems there other than like your normal problems that you have at your job. Um, but I love the dealership I'm at now. There are problems here and there, but I know I do have it. a lot better than other females in the industry, especially with the experience I had first going in. And hearing from other females at the round table, it's definitely a large difference.
Sure. Well, it's disappointing that the manager could not get past your gender as being a barrier. I'm sure, and I'll just ask you the question, were any of the customers or the vehicles resistant to you working on them?
I didn't have any problems till I started getting a higher certification. Because being an express, you don't really talk with the customers, and I couldn't drive customer vehicles anyway. You have to be 18 to drive customer vehicles. So I couldn't drive any when I was at my first dealership. But my second dealership, once I started getting more involved in like doing my own work by myself and I had to interact with the customers, that's when I started getting some backlash from it. Like I could be standing out in the service drive and um what's strange is I usually get it from older women um that are like, why is a female working on my car? Is she gonna be the one touching my car? Because I don't want that. Um I've had a couple male customers do that, but the worst surprisingly is like the older females, which was super shocking to me. But it is what it is. If you don't want me to work on your car, that's completely fine. Someone else can do it. They might not be as qualified as I am, but that's what you want. Go ahead.
Sure. Yeah, I find that very unfortunate. And you know, what it reminds me of is I've done a little bit of research recently into the medical field. And for many years, it was frowned upon that a female would be a medical doctor. And it really wasn't until I believe it was around the 1840s that a lady actually punched through that glass ceiling and actually became the first medical doctor. But of course, back then things were much differently than they are now. But she even faced things being threatened, you know, for her own safety. So it's difficult. The hardest part I see in the industry are for people to lay aside preconceived ideas and preconceived notions. And so I find it disappointing that you had to face that, especially being that females work in so many different parts of the industry and industries. So let's talk a little bit about your fellow technicians. How receptive have they been? How supportive have they been? You know, you mentioned that most of them are male. How are they as far as being welcoming into the shop?
My first dealership, everyone was pretty on board with it. No one had an issue. No one ever said anything to me. They always asked me if I could do stuff for them, so they obviously thought I was capable of some things. And then at my second dealer, which I'm currently at, pretty much everybody I work with, I have a close relationship with a lot of them. None of them have issues with me. I help them, they help me. I'm definitely smaller than they are. I got smaller hands and stuff like that. So with the tighter spaces and stuff, I'll help them. And then with the big heavy stuff, they come help me. And there's nothing I can change about that. It's biology. I'm not as strong as they are. Um, but I've never had anyone I work with be openly to not want to help me or hating the fact that like there's a female in their shop or whatever.
Mhm.
But I've never had anybody besides my first manager who was a tech um have an issue with me in that sort of way. And I do work with another female right now. She's certified and I don't really think that she's had any issues with other people like not liking her or anything. We've had a couple people just not receptive to her in general, but
Mhm.
it is what it is.
Sure. You know, you bring up something interesting there about you helping maybe with something that the other technician is struggling with, and then in return that they help you with something that you struggle with. One of the things that we cover in RFP, especially with the employees, is the value of each employee. the three of us that's on this video right now all bring different things to the table, different capabilities, different experiences, different talents. And I think it's unfortunate that people look at a technician through a singular lens. There are things that both of you can do that I have never done. I've been out of the industry as a technician now for about 25 years. And so I'm really out of touch with new technology. But there are things that maybe I could do that you all would struggle with. And that's where, as a manager, as a dealership owner, as the general public, we need to realize that it takes everyone working together as a team to produce a great product. And so thank you for sharing your story there. So sort of to transition, this is more of a general question. What are the greatest challenges that technicians are facing today? And, you know, maybe it's something that you've discussed at the roundtable, or maybe it's something you've discussed in the dealership. What are some of the greatest challenges technicians are facing?
All technicians or female
All
technicians?
technicians at this point.
I would say all technicians are dealing with the struggle to get equal work, especially right now. We are coming out of our winter season, so it's been super slow. Not everyone has been making a lot of money. Most of my dealership is flat rate, so we all are there a lot fighting tooth and nail. We have the new Tundra recalls that came out, and they don't pay wonderful. They do take a lot of time to get a hang of, so we have had some people getting whacked for that. We've had airbag recalls that take 6 hours. They pay 3, so people are also getting whacked for that. And we have the higher level technicians, like the experts and the masters, that are getting all the warranty diagnosis and stuff like that. But we also don't have the other work coming in to help support what we're doing on the warranty side of it. So the hours portion of it, especially right now and then in this season, and then unfortunately bring politics into it, like with the new presidency coming in, people are freaking out with that, which is also affecting us too. So that kind of sucks right now. A lot of people do complain about the uniforms. A lot of people don't wear the uniforms because they are uncomfortable. We've had talks about it with the female roundtable. We do have different pants, but now we're struggling to get the pants. So we did have those come out, but it's still an issue with us to get them due to like our laundry companies or stuff like that. And then just older facilities of stuff not working, showers not working. I don't have like the deep sinks in my bathroom. And that's no fault of my dealership. That's when they built it. Females weren't techs when they built that building. The building's over 100 years old. Um, I don't blame anybody for that, but that's just like issues that we all have. And it's just older facilities. I know my dealership specifically, we are getting a new building, so I know that's going to change. But it's just basic stuff, and then our hours and stuff like that. That's hitting a little hard right now, but we always bounce back.
Sure. So, you know, you bring up something, and maybe this is a topic for another video, but you mentioned the flat rate and how the warranty maybe doesn't pay enough or whatever. And of course, I've never worked in the Northeast, but I know a little bit about some of the working conditions and what you face. And I know that you deal with more rust and things like that that makes the jobs more difficult. So one of the things that I would say is if you're an industry leader watching this video, whether you're Toyota or another brand for that matter, take those things in consideration, what the technicians are facing. When a lot of these time studies are done, they're done in a fairly perfect environment. And things are not seized on, they're not rusted on, they've not been exposed to months of salt and rough roads and stuff like that. So definitely I feel for you there with what you're facing. Hopefully things smooth out. And what I can tell you, having been a technician for over 20 years, active in the industry, is it does come and go. You'll have your ebb and flow, so to speak, and it will settle back out. It's just rough whenever you have several things that hit all at once. So transition then, and you touched on it a little bit. You talked about the sinks and some of the facilities maybe not being as accommodating as what they should be for a female. So what specifically do female technicians face as the greatest challenge, either coming into the industry or working in the industry? Anything that you would like to share specific to females?
Um, Me specifically, when I first went in, I wasn't even informed that there was a female uniform. So I did have to find out like my sizes in the male section, and then once I figured that out, they just kept getting it wrong. I don't know how, but they did. We eventually got it figured out there. I went to my second dealer. They didn't know there was a female uniform. I found out from when the other female tech joined. I was there probably about a year before her, and she came in and she didn't know her old uniform sizes, so she just got female uniforms, and that's how I found out about that. But at that time, I was like, well, I already have my pants and stuff like that, so I'm not gonna change it because I
Mhm.
found out there's female pants and there's just extra pockets.
Sure.
That's really the only difference there. And well, I mean, how they fit is definitely different, but comfortability wise, I wasn't too worried about it. Um, but I know a lot of other technicians, especially in the round table, there's some that don't have their own locker room. There's some that don't have a private space to change. There's some without showers. There's some without soap to even do anything. Um, I'm sure you can touch more about that because I have a bad memory. But we do deal with probably a lot of stuff. And I don't mean to go back, but with the flat rate thing, there is a lot of female technicians that believe that they're not getting paid the same as males. I don't have that feeling with where I am at, but I know it's a lot of people's concern because they see it. Um, and I can't really talk on that because uh,
You're well taken care of.
yes, that's exactly what I
Compensated.
was trying to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Toyota, they do pay pretty good warranty times. They're one of the better um providers for that. It's the diag that kills a lot of people on it. Um, but I know a lot of females do have a lot of other issues, and me myself, I am very well taken care of where I am. There are the small issues that we talked about a little before, but that's due to when the building was built. Um, but yeah, if you want to touch on
Okay.
other things.
Okay. Kim, anything that you would like to add to it? I know Maddie has talked about a couple things that were on the list that you provided to me, but I know that there were some females that were facing some rather serious things. I don't know if you want to share any of that or not, or anything that you want to add to what Maddie has shared.
I mean, I think it definitely comes down to dealer to dealer. I think they all are trying and want to help, but I think some of them just don't know how. When I spoke in front of a group of instructors in January, one of them looked at me when I was talking about issues and was like, a bathroom? Like it didn't even, I mean, he was a guy, so he didn't even take into consideration that that was something that we didn't have. Some of the young women in the industry are running out into the sales area and they've just finished doing a set of tires and they're dirty from head to toe, and it's not really a comfortable spot to go out into an area that is supposed to be, you know, the shining star of the dealership, and there you are, the guy from out back or the gal from out back, having to go get cleaned up. So it's the support. Again, I think that they are all trying. They maybe just don't know how to help 100%. And if your building is older, you can't accommodate for that. Like the three shops that I worked at, I never had a female locker room. I was changing in the same room as the guys. Lucky enough, there was a stall off to each of them that I could go and hide in the stall and get changed. But I will tell you, those guys, when you earn their respect and show that you can do the job, they treat you just like one of them. And they were dropping trout right next to me, and that was kind of an awkward situation, I will say.
Sure.
But
Yeah, both my dealerships, my first one, there right in the shop. They had a male locker room, and then there was a female bathroom. It was a single stall. As soon as you closed the door, it locked. And I had to share it with our dispatcher, and somehow we'd always have to go to the bathroom at the same time. So like we'd be like waiting for like one another like outside the door. And I remember it. They gave me like one of those like coat racks with just like the little like fingers coming off of it, and that's where they'd put all my uniforms. And there was a cardboard box, probably about this big, that they put on the ground. They're like, just put your dirty uniforms in there, and we'll send them off to get clean. They forgot it pretty much 3 out of 4 times every week. Um, so I ended up just like bringing my clothes home to wash. And like that's another thing too. It's just like they're not used to having females in the industry. We haven't been here, like there hasn't been a lot of us for that long. There's probably like one female at every dealership now, which is great. Um, but they still like it's just the small annoying things like you can get the male's laundry, but you forget about ours because you're not used to us being in there. Um, and it's just little things like that. But
Yeah. Workwear
Those are
outfitters design uniforms for the females. They, debuted them at our second roundtable, and none of us have been able to get a hold of them yet. The uniform company or workwear outfitters made sure that they were the same cost as the male uniforms to try and help overcome that obstacle. But the laundry companies are saying because there's only, and I just say there's only one Jane, but there's 25 Johnnies waiting to take that pair of pants. They don't want to buy that pair of pants for Jane because they don't know how long she's going to be there. And so then the dealers have offered, well, I'll buy the uniforms for my female technician because they don't want them to be without. Your boss doesn't want you to be without.
yeah.
But then the laundry company says, well, if you purchase them, then you own those. And so we're not going to launder them for you. So they haven't gotten the uniforms because that's not fair to ask her to have to launder her uniforms. I mean, at the end of the day, I know I laundered mine and sounds like you're taking yours home just because then you have a pair of pants.
Most of them, well, my first dealer, yeah. But this the the laundry lady I have right now is like super receptive to everything. So like I can have the conversation with her, and I do have a different like type of pants now because like when you join that you just have like a set of pants and like you get that and you pick your size and there you go. But she was very receptive, and I talked about it with her, what was going on, and she showed me that um they couldn't even buy it. It didn't exist to them, but she found a very, very similar set that she did get for me, which was awesome because she knows I've been there for a while, so I knew she was willing to do that. So she fought for me on that end, and I know that she is also in an industry that is tough, that deals with a bunch of blue collar workers and stuff like that. And you get that connection through other women in a tougher industry.
Sure. Well, it sounds like that I need to make sure this video gets in front of laundry companies for sure. And I would encourage if you're a dealership owner or a manager, a leader in the industry, take note of this and make an effort to reach out to the laundry providers. There's really only about 3 or 4 major laundry providers for all the dealerships across the country. And I would encourage you to take note of this. This is a challenge. This is an issue. In RFP workplace principles, we focus on what I call the uninviting circumstances. We don't get into illegal activities and things like that. That's for HR, that's for law enforcement, what have you. The uninviting circumstances is what actually decreases production. And dealing with a laundry issue or finding out you don't have clean uniforms or the uniforms don't fit right, all of those are impediments to success. So great points. We're going to wrap this up in just a couple minutes. But before we do, there's 2 more questions, Maddie, that I have for you. What would you tell others wanting to join or looking to join the automotive industry, male or female? Maybe they're a sophomore in high school, maybe they're in 8th grade, or maybe they're a junior or senior in high school, but they're thinking about or exploring the idea of going into the automotive field. What would you like to share with them?
I would say just go for it. Just try it. You don't have to be a tech. If you start out to be a tech, you don't like it. Um, You can always be a writer. You can always try to go for management. You could try to go in sales. There's so many things that you can do in the automotive industry if you're interested in cars and stuff like that. The money is there. You just have to apply yourself and you have to put it in that way. If there's someone that doesn't like you for some reason, not everyone's gonna like you. And that is the tough reality of it. But you do just have to go for it. You pave your own way in the automotive industry. If you put the work in, the work's gonna come back to you. It's gonna reward you, and it's a very rewarding industry. You just have to apply yourself and get your certifications and all that.
Awesome. And is there anything, if there are leaders from the industry watching, that you would like to share with them? Maybe leaders from your own Boston region, or Toyota corporate, or leaders across the industry in any sector. What would you share with them?
If you have anyone coming into your industry, you need to be open to questions. A lot of people do have questions, and a lot of people aren't comfortable to ask the questions that they want to know. A lot of people are scared to talk about their pay, and that is me included. And having that conversation is very difficult. The dealer I'm at, we have a roadmap of how much money you should be making with this, so there's really no variance of it. So I know like what should I be making with how long I've been there, what my certification level is, and I think every industry needs to be like that, whether you are a clean air company or you provide like shop supplies and stuff like that, whether you're in parts. I think everyone should have a structured pay plan, and so people know where they can be at, and definitely with the steps to follow through with how to get higher with your job, more certifications, and a lot of places do need to be like that. A lot of people, most people I know want to improve. So those other things need to be there in order for people to do that. So they just need to work on just being receptive to people and their questions and stuff like that, and working with people. Because when they don't work with people, you could be losing someone great just because you don't want to answer a question of how much they could be making if they do this, this, and this.
Sure. And once again, going back to RFP workplace principles, one of the topics that we cover in management training is actually having an open feedback forum. A lot of times, all of us struggle with criticism or the tough questions. And if you're an industry partner and you're watching us on this video, I would encourage you to look into RFP workplace principles, what we have to offer. Like I said earlier on the video, Kim is the representative for the Northeast, but we all work together on this, and we're trying to promote the industry to elevate the position of a technician to its rightful place as a professional career, and definitely want to focus on making it more inviting, more receptive to females, people of diversity that want to come into the field, and so that they can enjoy what Maddie has explained here. So once again, thank you for joining today. Thank you, Kim and Maddie, for being open and receptive. You didn't mention your dealer's name, but I want to say thank you to your dealership and to your service manager. I'm not going to share that name, but I've been to that dealership a number of times. I've met your service manager. Great dealership. And if he happens to be watching this, thank you for allowing Maddie to have the time to do this. And I realize the flat rate time to do a video is not very good, so I'm going to let you get back to work. So thanks again, and have a good day.